Welcome to all of you. I'm glad you're here. For my old timers, thanks for welcoming me back. I took a few days off while I was up in upstate New York. And today's death contemplation, this is for those of you who are joining in, these all stand alone. So don't worry if you're like, oh man, you're on number 5 and this is my first class with you. These are 9 contemplations that were created by an 11th century Tibetan monk named Atisha. And today is number 5. And number 5 is death has many causes. That's number 5. So let's come to the head of the mat. And feel the feet root down. And I feel like I really need to land here, having just gotten back. So we're going to have this be a rooted practice. And it feels like this is important to have ourselves root down, because I was thinking more about this whole endeavor with, contemplating death. And, as we've talked about, and this is from the wisdom of Lion's Roar, when we contemplate death, we can transform our lives. So feel your feet rooting down, grounding down. And land here, because ultimately this contemplation, this series of contemplations, we're doing this in order to have our lives blossom. So the feet root down, the palms shine forward, soften those knees, and just land here in your Tadasana. Tuck the tail a little bit, feeling yourself connecting down. Another breath. And then inhale those arms out and up, reach up. Beautiful Surya Namaskar stretch, Urdhva reaching up, stretch up, feel yourself lifting up out of the waist. And then side bend. So today's contemplation is death has many causes. And as we think about this, and, having just returned from upstate New York, I was in Albany visiting my godmother, who is in a nursing home right now. Lift up. She was recently diagnosed. Exhale those hands down with a rare blood cancer. Hands come to the heart space. So as I was walking the halls of the nursing home, I was witnessing all the different ways that a human body can fail. Reaching up here in your Urdhva. You can, if you'd like, you can wrap the fingers, index fingers point up like a steeple, and then you can arch one direction, doesn't matter which one. Inhale, lift, and exhale over. So from an appreciative inquiry standpoint, yes, death has many causes. But fingers crossed, the majority of us here are healthy. And isn't that amazing? Isn't that, incredible and wonderful? And how lucky are we? Inhale up. Even if we have little ticks or little things that maybe aren't working 100%, by and large, our bodies are just humming along. Exhale it down. So this can be also an appreciative inquiry practice. Recognizing, yes, that death can come at us from a variety of different places, but in this moment, here we are, healthy and well. Folding into your first forward fold, soften those knees, head hangs heavy, arms are soft. Inhale, arch up halfway, flat back. Exhale down. And then take the
right hand to the outside of the left ankle and just gently twist to the left. I've got my left hand on the sacrum, twisting open. My knees are soft. And then just roll and go in the other direction. Gentle twisting here. And head hangs heavy, arms hang heavy, ragdoll yourself down. Soften those knees as much as you need to, so you're really able to get the belly and the torso onto the thighs. And again, soften that head back and forth. And then roll it up, coming up. Inhale those arms up, stretch up. Exhale. So Joan Halifax, inhale, reach up, coming up onto the balls of the feet. She writes here about how, death has many causes, and you can list those out, right? I mean, thinking about all of those many, many, many ways. Breathing here into your balance, rounding down into the balls of the feet, heels come down. Because we typically think, oh, it's going to be cancer, or right now you might be thinking, oh, it might be COVID, or, it'll be old age. But, there are accidents. There are just these, crazy things that can happen to us. Inhale, arch up, halfway, flat back. Come on down. You could die because of a storm, car accident. Drop that right leg back. Left knee right over the ankle, hands frame the foot. Pour energy down the right leg, out the heel. So this is our practice here, is watching what our mind does when we contemplate the truth that death can come through so many doors. Drop the knee down. Do you try to avoid this thought, or are you able to consider the possibilities? There are many conditions that bring death, and the forces that sustain life are few. Letting those hips release down, relax down. All life ends in death one way or another. Send those hips back, toes stay down. Inhale it forward. So, as Joan mentions, as Atisha talks about, bring those hips back, toes rise up. There are so many ways we can die. And one of the other contemplations is that our human bodies are fragile. And yet here we are living. Here we are, right? So when it comes down, exhale it back, toes rise up. Yes, this contemplation is about recognizing that, I'm going to go get my phone, I just realized I left it near the computer, that music might be sounding loud. Breathing here into your Ardha Hanumanasana. So yes, this is about contemplating that death has many causes, but also recognizing that as vulnerable as we are, look at the vast majority of us living these long lives. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? And yes, there are so many ways that things can go wrong in the body, and yet here we are. By and large, fingers crossed, most of us are pretty darn healthy. How amazing is that? And that's where contemplation of death can transform our lives. Curling those toes under, step it back, down dog. That's where, when we contemplate death, we can be more appreciative of the life we have, more appreciative of the health we have. walk your dog out. That's today's contemplation. Tailbone rises up and the head hangs heavy, plugging the hands in. So these death contemplations, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, I invite you to have them be tremendously life-affirming. Tailbone rises up and the head comes up. Curl the tailbone under, mid-back rises, head comes down. Breathing here in your cat and your cow. In cow, we inhale, undulating the spine. And exhale, we arch. And while we're here in our cat, I invite you to bring the right side of the head towards the right bicep and feel how by pressing your hand into the left hand into the mat, you'll feel a stretch through the back part and then come through center and go in the other direction. Breathing here. Don't hold the breath. Again, exhale, arch, inhale, lift up. Exhaling. I'm glad you're here too, Carol. And I missed y'all too, Susan. Yeah. Isaiah, we're glad you're here. Curl the toes, lift the hips down, dog. Walk your dog out. Right, let the head hang down. Recognizing the uncertainty of life, the fact that death has many causes. And realize here that the reason we're doing these contemplations is so that we can taste the sweetness of life. Step the right foot forward. You know, I can say, I'm a yoga teacher. I live a pretty healthy life. I am pretty healthy. Fingers crossed right now. Drop that left knee down. Right knee right over the right ankle. I can say, maybe my death will be of old age when I'm like 101 years old, 50 years from now. I'm 51 right now. But if I really believed that, if I really knew that, isn't it possible, send those hips back, that I could just really start taking the years for granted? We've talked a lot in these contemplations about how we often use our lives as a waiting room. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when. I'll be happy when my portfolio hits that specific number. I'll be happy when I've got the house paid off. I'll be happy when I've got my degree. I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I get married. Whatever it is. We're always looking in the future, and then we move the goalpost, right? Breathing here in our Ardha Hanumanasana. Our hips are back, toes are up. Inhale forward. But if we really, really recognize that death has many causes, and one of our previous contemplations was that the length of our life is not fixed. Exhale it back. This is when we can start shifting, possibly, into appreciating day by day the gift of the health we have, the gift of this day, the gift of this moment. So we have a greater appreciation. Inhale it forward. Let those hips relax down and exhale it back. And that's the sweetness of these contemplations. That's how these contemplations, again, become very life-affirming. Even though we're looking at all these different facets, all these different ways that we can think about death. Step that foot back. Down dog. Walk your dog out. Tailbone rises up and the head hangs heavy. Roll your head. Bending one knee, bending the right knee, and bring again the side of the right side of the head towards the right bicep. And then switch sides. Bend the left knee, right leg straighten, left side of the head goes onto the left bicep. And you'll feel that beautiful stretch through the side of the neck. And then let those heels settle down. Tailbone rises up. Press all four corners of the hands into the mat. Glide forward plank pose. Pressing hands into the mat. Beautiful, beautiful back heart energy. Another breath. And then lift that tailbone up. Come back into your Adho Mukha Svanasana. And float that right leg back and up. If you like three-legged dog, roll the foot on the ankle. If you don't like three-legged dog, just chill in down dog. Stretch that leg up and then step it through. Coming into your Vira 1. Inhale, lift up. Opening the heart up. Virabhadrasana 1. Really feel your heart broad. Making goalposts of the arms, like cactus arms. Squeeze the shoulders together. And then lift up. Feel yourself lifting up out of the waist. Light. Feet root down. Legs root down. And from the waist up, you rise up. And you can steeple your fingers together. Index fingers point straight up here in your Vira 1. Hips are squared towards the front of the mat. And we're going to step off into our Vira 3, which you can leave your fingers steepled if you'd like. So take your time, get yourself grounded, and then pivot forward. Good focused gaze. Good focused gaze. Breathing here into the uncertainty of life. And then come on back. Open it up, Vira 1. Beautiful, open heart. Release the steeple overhead. Clasp the hands behind the back and come into your Yoga Mudra. Rolling again the shoulders together. Belling the heart open. And then step off onto that right foot and come into your Ardha Chandrasana. So with Ardha Chandrasana, if you have blocks, you can put blocks underneath your hand, okay? Or you can bring your hands down and float that left hip up, reaching the arm up, stretching up. Another breath. And then bend that leg and step it back. Cooper's school is calling, probably saying, "Where is your son?" Lifting up. Beautiful open heart. Straighten that leg. Long edges of the feet, parallel to long edges of the mat. Okay? Feet are hip width apart. Okay, square that hip forward. And come on down into your pyramid. So soften that front knee. There's a tendency to hyperextend the knee. And if you have blocks that are in easy grabbing distance, it can be really nice to have your hands on blocks at any height that suits you. Keep gliding that right hip back, left hip forward. Okay? Listening to the body. Folding over that leg. Really grounding down here. You know, when we're contemplating all these things about death, they can be what was the word I was just about to use? They can be destabilizing. They can make us feel anxious, right? Death has many causes. You can start feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm scared to leave the house. And that's obviously not what we want. Left hand on the block, right hand on the hip. So I like to snuggle my thumb right in the crease at the top of the leg, and I wrap my fingers around the outer hip and I push that hip back. And you'll feel it makes the inner thighs kind of kiss, come together as you twist into your Pavrita Trikonasana, your twisting triangle, breathing here. So as we consider these death contemplations, continuing to root down into your safety, root down into your stability. Another breath. Hands, walk forward, bend that front knee, walk the hands in front of the foot. We're going into standing split. So with standing split, again, it can be nice to have your blocks if you have blocks. Hands on the blocks as you bring that top leg up, folding over the right leg, roll the foot on the ankle if you'd like. Bend that knee. And float it up, Vira 1. Steepling the fingers if you'd like. Open, lift up, out of the hips. Open the heart. Bend into that knee. Blossoming the heart open. And then come on down. And that's a dance, isn't it? We're talking about death has many causes. And about how our human life isn't fixed. And then we're saying, well, I'm safe. I'm grounded. I'm here. And that's the dance. Because the reality is we are safe in this moment. We are here. Breathing here in your down dog. Knees wide, toes touch. Come on down into your child's pose. And allow yourself to melt down. With each and every one of these contemplations, seeing your response. Being the witness. How are you feeling? How is this exploration landing with you? Saying to yourself, I am safe. And if at any moment in any of these contemplations things get a little bit too intense, my invitation is for you to just turn down the volume and just do yoga with me. Just watch and breathe into the silence, allowing yourself to ground down, root down. So as you're ready, plugging the hands in, curl the toes, lift the hips, come on up. Down dog, lifting that tailbone up, plugging the hands in, breathing here. And we're going to float the left leg back and up. We're going to do that same flow on the other side. So if you took three-legged dog, you can roll the foot on the ankle, just really lift up, root down into the right heel. Another breath. And then step it forward. Knowing that you're going into Vira 1, take your time. There's no hurry. If you're a breath or two behind me, that's fine. Take your time. There's no stress in yoga. It's like the height of irony to get stressed. Now, when you lift up, if you choose to steeple your fingers, see what it feels like to change the wrap. It's going to feel weird. It's like, oh my gosh, right? It almost feels like my pinky on my right hand is like hanging out. Breathing here. Open the heart. Bend into that knee. Left knee's over the ankle. And then release the clasp. Hands come down behind the hips. And take your yoga mudra. release your yoga mudra and come back into steeple. Changing the grip so it feels really weird. Step off onto that left foot. We're going into Vira 3 on this side. Take your time. Noticing, like for me, my left side is definitely, I'm not as balanced, I'm not as strong on this side. And just notice, just be a witness. It's all good. Breathing here in your Vira 3. And then bend that leg and step it back. Warrior 1. Opening it up. Release the clasp. Arms come down. Straighten the legs. Feet are hip width apart. Long edges of the feet parallel, long edges of the mat. Soften that front knee. And come on down into your pyramid pose. Grabbing those blocks if that's helpful. Breathing here. Remember to have a little bit of a soft bend in that left knee. It's really common to hyperextend the front leg, which kind of jams the knee. So keep gliding the left hip back, right hip forward. And now we're coming into our twisting triangle. So our right hand comes down, possibly onto a block. Left thumb, I like to put my left thumb right at the top of that crease. So you're really nestling it right in at the top of the thigh. And then rolling the fingers around the hip. And then you glide that left hip back, square the right hip forward. And you'll feel how that changes the intensity of the pose. Breathing here in your twisting triangle. So gliding that left shoulder back as you twist open to the left. Another breath. And release. Bend that front leg. And inhale it up. Arms reach up. Lifting up. And then step off onto that left foot. Coming into your Ardha Chandrasana. So you're balancing half moon. Again, your hand can be on a block. Bringing that right hip on top. Floating up. Rooting down. Feeling your stability. Feeling your safety. Feeling the strength of the body. Another breath, and step it back. Inhaling up, take your steeple, clasp it the other way. Breathing here in your Vira 1. Open the heart. Beautiful back bend. And then stepping off onto that left foot, both hands, come on down into your standing split. Noticing the difference from side to side. That's so normal. Our bodies are tremendously asymmetrical for having 2 legs, 2 arms, a central torso. Step it back. And inhale it up. Open the heart. And hands come either side of the foot. Tailbone rises up, head hangs heavy. Breathing here in your down dog. So Christine, yeah, I think you were helping me look for a word of yes, unsettling. These contemplations can be unsettling. Knees are wide, toes touch. Maybe with your blocks forward, you can put your hands on the blocks as you come down into your extended child. Feel how that opens up the shoulders. Yeah, it can be incredibly unsettling, right? These contemplations. But is there a way that we can be unsettled, and then as we reground, as we seek that sense of connection, what we settle back into is a life that's just more in touch with the sweetness, the fact that day by day we should appreciate the gift of this life. Another breath here in your child's pose. And then rock it back and forth, rolling the forehead on the mat. As if we're massaging the forehead. I like to envision the yoga mat as if it's a huge ink pad. And I'm like putting like a forehead print where I'm like kind of rolling back and forth. And then walk those hands forward, curl the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Walk your dog out. Tailbone rises up and the head hangs heavy. Flip that right leg back and up if you'd like. Crank it open, fire hydrant pose. And then square that hip and step it forward. Coming into your Vira 1. And we're really plugging into a grounded practice. So step off onto that right foot and come into your Vrikshasana. So with our tree pose, remember the only place we don't want our foot is on the side of the knee. And we want this left leg, our right leg is rooted down. Our left leg, we want to have be out to the side, okay? As if we're being kind of sandwiched between two planes of glass. So this knee goes out to the side. So the ball of your foot can absolutely be on the ground. A hair stuck to my lip. There it is. Hands at the heart space. Don't look at me. Focus gaze on something that's not moving around like I am. And you can open those arms up. Pressing the leg into the foot and the foot into the leg. Beautiful squeeze. Breathe here. Another breath. Then hands together. Down the midline. And step it back. Virabhadrasana 1. Take steepling your fingers if you'd like. This side can be the natural side. The side that you do without a lot of thought. Open that heart. And then open it up into our Vira 2. Longer stance. Knees over ankle. Stretching from fingertip to fingertip. Shoulders are down. Right. Straighten that leg. Arms reach up overhead. And then exhale it down. Back into Vira 2. Maybe the palms are up. Feeling yourself pulsing here. Inhale up, hands touch overhead. Exhale down. Last one. And then straighten that leg and glide into your Trikonasana. And with our Trikonasana, absolutely, if things are pretty, feeling pretty tight, pretty tense, grab your block. Put multiple blocks. There are all kinds of ways that we can manage the height of our blocks, right? All right. And we really want that left shoulder to be back as the arm is up. Breathing here. If you don't have blocks, your hand can be on the shin, can be on the thigh. And listen to the body. Keeping that right hip tucked underneath. A little bit of a bend to that knee. Breathing here. Side angle arm if that feels good. And then just rotate it down. Hands either side of the foot. And come on back, down dog. Now your choice if you rest in down dog, come into child's pose, or flow with me. Lifting up into your Bhujangasana. As much height as it suits your body right now. If you like an up dog in your practice, you can take up dog. Beautiful. Come up onto the knees. Puppy dog stretch, Anahatasana. Press those hands in. Breathe into the underarms. And then curl the toes. Lift the hips down. Walk your dog out. Let's do that same flow on the other side. Left leg reaches up, stretches up. Crank your dog open, your fire hydrant pose. Feeling that opening through the hips. And then come on into your Virabhadrasana 1. Take your time. Set your feet. Lift it up. Vira. Switch your steeple. If you're steepling your fingers overhead, have your little pinky finger be like, oh, what about me? So weird, right? And then step off onto that left foot, rooting down. And take your Vrikshasana on this side. So now it's our right foot, which is somewhere on the left leg. Only place we don't want it is on the knee. Pressing the foot into the leg, leg into the foot. Good focus gaze. If you wind up falling out of the pose, it's all good. Just take your time. Root down into that left foot. Good gaze. And then lift back up. Sending your roots down. Breathing here into your safety, your stability, as you consider these big questions, these big realities, that death has many causes. Feeling gratitude for this healthy body that has been your companion. Step that right leg back. Virabhadrasana 1. Steepling those fingers. Changing the grip. If you're like me and you just did the natural grip, flipping over to the other one. Breathing here. And then lengthening it out into your Virabhadrasana 2. So knees right over the ankle. And then we straighten that leg as the arms reach up overhead, lightly touch. And then we come down. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, feel yourself rooting down. Strong and stable. Last one. And then straighten that leg. And glide forward. And come on down. Now remember, using your blocks as necessary. Tuck the left hip underneath. Gently unwind the torso. Right shoulder right over left. Tiny bit of a bend in that front knee. Breathing here in your Trikonasana. Another breath. If you want to add side angle arm, you can do that. Palm faces down. Beautiful stretch through the obliques. And then just roll it down. Coming into your down dog. Walking it out. Settling one heel down and then the other. Tailbone rises up. Glide those shoulder blades apart. Another breath. And then come on into your child's pose. Palms reach forward, palms are up. Breathing here in your child. Forehead melting down. Feeling yourself safe and present. Another breath. And then gently walk those hands up. Come on to a seat. Come on to the back body. So again, witnessing your emotional responses. Grabbing those blocks so that they're nearby. Windshield wiper those knees back and forth. Look in the opposite direction as the knees fall open to the right. Look to the left. And as they come through center and to the left, look to the right. Just unwinding the spine back and forth. Blocks alongside the body. Let's bring our right knee into our chest. Inhaling. Feeling the belly rise against the thigh. And then exhale and twist. Looking over the shoulder. Inhale that knee into the chest. And exhale the legs long, arms overhead. Feel the length, feel the stretch. And then the other side, left knee into the chest. Inhaling. So good to have a big belly breath and squeeze the internal organs. And then twist, looking to the left. Left knee drops to the right. Inhaling, the knee comes into the chest again. And arms overhead. Now your choice here, if you'd like, you can come into legs up the wall pose. So grabbing your block, and you can put the block so that it's long ways and low underneath the sacrum. So it's like this underneath the sacrum, okay? Long and low, all right? And you put it right between the waist and the tailbone so that it's got, your low back has as much stability as possible. And then roll the heart together, palms down, and then you just lift those legs up in your Viparita Karani. Okay? Legs up the wall pose. Now, if you don't have a block, but you're like, Laura, I got a wall, then go do legs up the wall pose at the wall, which means your booty's on the ground and your legs are just up the wall. So it's like you're a human L. Try to get your booty as close to the wall as you can. And just allow yourself to drop down here. This is a tremendously restorative pose. So supposedly this is the pose that defies aging and death, which, as we know from our contemplations, there's no true defying of death, but we can try to kick the can down the road a little bit, right? Breathing here into the contemplation. And again, in just these final, quiet minutes of class, just noticing, what happens when you breathe into the fact that death has many causes. Does it feel really cerebral but not personal? Like, oh, that's not going to be me? Or do you kind of like skitter away from it? Where do you go emotionally? And just noticing that that's part of your learning, part of your swadhyaya, your self-inquiry. Now it's your choice. If you're really loving legs up the wall pose, then hang out here. It's awesome. If you're ready to just come down into traditional shavasana, just move slow. Lift up off the block if you were using a block. If you'd like, you can come into your Supta Baddha Konasana for a few breaths. Soles of the feet together, knees flop open. If you happen to have blocks, which are easy to grab, you can, kind of put them underneath your thighs so that you can just kind of melt down into this pose, reclining cobbler. And breathe here in this pose as long as it feels good to the body. And when you feel ready, you can just come into traditional shavasana. Corpse pose. Letting the body melt down. Appreciating this body, loving this body, but also recognizing that this body, while it's been with you the entirety of this life, this body will come to pass. And now just let go of the thinking mind and just be, just relax. Release down. Today's poem is called Inner Fire. What does it take to keep the inner fire of inspiration burning? What wakes the soul from sleep when the mind yearns from any respite from the storm? What calls forth courage when fear is a known and frequent guest? When the winds of change and circumstance swirl in circles, when breath is short and shallow, what brings release? The peace of God is present in the tumult and the temple. A single thought can move us from the unreal to the real. To dance or kneel, to sing or speak a prayer of gratitude and praise can spark the flame of truth again. To remember and forget, to find and lose, to remember and forget again. There is no shame in this. To recall the grace that is our nature brings down the wall that separates and draws the gaze inside once more. There, the open door of the heart glows like a beacon in the night. There we rest in stillness and in light. So this is our inquiry, isn't it? Looking into the face of death and witnessing that, yes, this could stir up fear. And that's part of our inquiry. It's part of our exploration. Where do we find courage as we live in this truth that we will die, our loved ones will die. We're all passing through. How do we root down into the inner fire so that we live with this truth and plug into our courage to see this reality clearly? Breathing here. And then as you're ready, bringing movement into the body, whatever that looks like, listening to the body. Eyes stay closed as you allow the body to choreograph what that movement looks like. And then without any sense of hurry, rolling over onto the right side, cradling the heart. And carefully pressing yourself up into an easy seat, wrapping the arms around yourself. Maybe a gentle sway back and forth. Loving yourself, sending kindness and compassion to this body, our constant companion. And then bringing our hands to our heart space, rubbing the hands, and then placing the right hand on the heart, the left hand on top of the right, sending yourself love, sending yourself kindness and compassion, no matter what you notice as you walk through these contemplations, telling yourself how loved you are. Nice big inhales, we